Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast. I'm your host, Zach. Today's show, we have got Julian with Julian & Sons Fine Woodworking out of Heber Springs, Arkansas. How's it going, Joe?
It's going great. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
Heber Springs, Arkansas. That is not a very big town.
No, it's about 7,500 people now, but when my family moved here, it was barely 1,000, and it's still fairly a nice rural community.
That's crazy. So let's just kick it off by telling everybody your backstory. How did you and your family come into the cabinet woodworking field, and what's probably been the most unexpected part of your journey?
Okay. So my dad, after moving to Arkansas, my dad really came here sight unseen, didn't really know what he was going to do. And when he started building craftsman style homes here on the lake, from his experience in California where he had grown up, he started building homes, but he kind of fell in love with the interiors. And so he quickly separated from his brother and his best friend who had moved out here to build homes here. And started focusing on the interiors. So in 1983, he started a project called the Oak Tree Inn, and he spent several years on this job and got to handcraft everything. And so the idea behind Julian & Sons was born. He had 4 young boys from 4 years old to 12 years old. And he set us all down and said, hey, we're going to start a family company. We're going to work with our hands. We're gonna build the most beautiful and best wood furniture pieces and cabinetry that we can. You know, we're gonna build solid walnut desks and gun cabinetry for collectors and for executives and things. And so it's just a dream in 1985. And as much as my brothers and I didn't realize the value of what our father was teaching us, we had to go to work every day after school and clean toilets and sweep floors, and weekends and school breaks were no fun for my brothers and I. It was going to the shop and learning to sand, learning to finish. Ultimately, we started learning to build cabinetry and then design cabinetry, and my father really took his craft to another level when he discovered Safari Club shows. And what these shows are is they're game hunters and collectors from all over the world, and it's a very luxury-based group of people. They're traveling and what they like to do. So he found an opportunity there that he was interested in, that he was able to really spread his wings as an artist and really start creating full spaces instead of just sets of cabinetry or individual pieces of furniture. And so we started working for sportsmen, and we started seeing the challenges that they had when it came to curating their collections. They could be working with an amazing architect and designer and builder, but unless they were a hunter or one of them, they really truly didn't understand. And then my father's construction experience also helped his connection with the building process and a lot of substrates and things that have to happen in order to make some of these rooms successful. Behind the scenes things. So we started developing that as a way to not only market our products, but also find the clientele who would allow us the time and the budget to use the best materials, the best craftspeople, and produce a product that is very expensive by most standards. However, the value that it creates for these clients is there. And when they see that, and they see the the fact that we're not just a cabinet company or a single piece of furniture company. We're able to really get inside their heads and help curate these spaces and stuff and create special rooms for people. So it's been a long experience. We're woodworkers, not businessmen. So most of the lessons we've had to learn are work-related mistakes and business mistakes that we've made. So it's been a long process, but we've seen lots of recessions, lots of things. And, we feel like if we continue to do things the right way and we're as transparent as possible in our process, that we will find our market and we will find our clients, even if we have to go to them. And that's kind of what our specialty is going to the person and creating a concierge white glove service for them on a bigger level than they've ever seen. And so that's kind of where we kind of focus. And I guess, challenges, family challenges are really hard, working with your brothers and your dad. So when my father passed in 2019, my brother and I looked at each other and knew that we couldn't be equal partners. And so I bought him out, and he continued to work for me. And it allowed me to start growing and expanding the business into other places. And he continues to be one of the guiding forces on the team in training and processes. And so we've made it past the turn as far as a full second generation business, and we're really just trying to find out what sustainability looks like in the future. Family businesses are really hard, and the dynamics are challenging. So we're trying to make it less of a family mom and pop, and more of a structured business that is something that can live long past me and my tenure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my dad owned restaurants when I was a kid, so I fully going and sweeping floors, doing dishes. And when I worked in a restaurant with my dad in high school, that's when I realized working with family is tough. I mean, there's just so much more than just boss-employee relationships. So that definitely adds a whole nother layer.
Well, yeah. And I mean, my idea, I never wanted to stay. I was like, I don't want to live in Arkansas. I don't want to live, doing woodwork for the rest of my life. And I never left. And I was the one that really took after my dad the most and had the passion for the business and the passion for the woodwork and the people and the clients, and getting having a job that they look back and the client goes, man, there's so much more value in this than the money I spent. And we become friends with clients and things like that. And I just never left. And it was something that was in my blood. And I've grown to really love and appreciate my home. I'm so glad I live in Arkansas. And I'm so glad that my brothers and I were born and raised in the hills instead of a city in California. So, as you get older and you mature, you start really appreciating things that didn't make sense to you when you were younger.
That is definitely for sure. I always thought I wanted to live in a big city, and I moved to Dallas, and nope, I'm out. I made it a year and a half. I went back to the small town world. Yeah, I love that. So what is your guys's, you and I kind of met through when I had my painting company in Oklahoma, and oh man, was it the Mabrys? Where I think you guys were doing like a trophy room for him, and I think you and I talked about some stuff, but that,
I can't remember, but yeah, it's been several years.
Yeah, been a couple. It was a customer in Tulsa. I can't remember his name, but I know it was a customer up in Tulsa. And just seeing your guys' work, it's, out of this world. The trophy rooms, the gun rooms, those things are insane. Like, average, how long does it take you guys to do one of those from, designs done to install? Like, what's the average?
Well, so the biggest time consuming thing is the design and making sure everything's in place before we ever cut a stick of wood. Gun rooms are kind of our forte. We do them every day. So we believe that we're the experts in the gun room field, gun displays, and because we're doing it every day. A typical gun room can be done in less than 2 weeks in the shop. if everything falls right. Now, most of our projects we operate at least at 12 to 14 months out with a manufacturing schedule, and then we also work about on a 2 to 4 month design lead. So projects usually take a lot longer on the front end. Once the execution happens, my guys can be done in 2 weeks with an average gun room. The installers can be done in less than 7 days install on the road. So when we get when the design's done and the team's ready, materials are here, everything's ready, the execution is not a lot of time. Now, for trophy rooms and things that get a lot more detailed and are more challenging, trophy rooms can take 6 months sometimes in the shop. We're working on one right now that's out in New Mexico, and we broke it down into 5 separate phases, and so that we can run the phases instead of the entire job, and track our progress a little bit better and keep our guys a little bit more focused on goals within the bigger goal. And what that does is just allows us to really calculate time and things a little bit better than putting a huge, large project in there and dumping everything at once and going, okay, let's just see how fast we can get this done, guys. We try to give them a little bit manageable bites instead of mouthfuls at a time.
That's like, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, exactly.
One bite at a time.
And
Yeah.
so some processes, sometimes we're a year and a half in design. And that's just because the clients, that's the feedback we're getting and the input we're getting, or they've switched architects or designers or something like that. So there's times when, and we encourage that. I would rather somebody call me and say, I got a project in 2 years. Let's start talking about it. Because a lot can change in 2 years. But the more we do now and the more we get on the same page and get in sync, we're going to be ready and prepared for them. And then we have enough time to be prepared on our end. So the sooner the better for us. But projects, we're a lot more efficient than we ever have been. We don't mind employing machinery and trying to create some efficiencies. But a lot of what we do is by hand, and it will not allow automation to take its place. And so that is a challenge, but projects usually average, I'd say, about a 6-month span from when we start design until we're complete is kind of probably an average project.
And you guys have gone some pretty crazy places to do installs.
Yeah, we've got to go all the way to South Africa, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Alaska multiple times. We have a cabinet that just got delivered. It's not a cabinet. It fills an entire room, but it's a gun display for the son of a sheikh in the United Arab Emirates, and it have been delivered to the palace this week.
Man, that'd be a fun one to go see.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to call me and have me put it together because it's in about 25 pieces, and it's in 2 crates. So I have a feeling that once they uncrate it and they look at it, they're going to be like, we need somebody to come. So
just tell them, send me your jet and I'll come out there for a couple days.
Yeah, here's the guy. So
yeah.
So we get to go to exotic locales. Our projects right now, we're working in Wyoming, in Colorado, in New Mexico, Texas, Tennessee. So we are always getting to go to great places. We see amazing properties and ranches and operations. And again, I've got to see the best gun collections, wine collections, book collections, artifacts that you could ever imagine, arrowhead collections I've seen arrowhead collections that are 3,000 square foot rooms that are all arrowheads and better stuff than that's in the Smithsonian. And so we get to really get intimate with our clients and see a lot of these things. And that's also a good thing for them. It's a little bit of a safety thing because we're not shell shocked or wow, look at all this. We've seen it over and over. And so our team is professional. Our team understands and sees that stuff on a daily basis. So we're able to give, and we're out of town. And so sometimes that also gives a level of security for the clientele. As far as what we're doing in these spaces, because we have to have so much information from them. They at first, they don't want to tell us all the details. And as we get to know them, we have to start pulling out more specifics from them than maybe a typical space design or cabinet design.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming into some of these guys' most intimate, hobbies. And
this is where they find their happy place. This is where they get the solace. They get to break away from the rest of the world and all the noise that they have and the people who work for them and the things they have to do and that they get to go in there and be in their own little world and do whatever they want. And if I can create a space that gives that feeling to somebody when they walk in, we've accomplished our job.
That's like a feeling like no other. I mean, when they're that happy with it. So, that's awesome. So you guys do all hardwoods.
Yeah, well, we do use mostly hardwoods, and our signature finish is a hand-applied, hand-rubbed Danish oil blend that is a penetrating finish versus a surface coat. However,
let's dig into that. I'm curious, because most all your stuff is that Danish oil. So what?
Most of it is now, and the stuff that we've done the last 5 years, we've added a painting facility. We have some edge banding. We've done some veneer work. So my COO, who I hired to help me come in after my father passed, his specialty is all paints and service coat finishes and edge banding, European style cabinetry, those kind of things. And so what we did is we blended the best of the traditional world and the modern world in our facilities to where we can just switch at any given time. We can switch over to a different style or different finish. But we're known for that signature Danish oil finish.
So do you guys, you said a blend. Is it your blend that you guys are using, or do you guys just something you purchase off the shelf?
So it's a blend that we use, and we use some commercial products we use them as bases. And the products that used to be available aren't available anymore. So we've had to continue to develop our own solids and powdered tints and things like that to try to, we still want the grain to breathe, but we also want some durability and a little bit of strength on it. But the beauty of the finish is it can be spot repaired, and it can always be given a facelift by a quick coat of oil, and it looks brand new. So it's just it requires a little bit more maintenance from the client. However, the finish, the patina, the way it wears is a really amazing finish. It's like a gun stock, but your whole room is finished like a gun stock.
So do you guys offer have you guys thought about going and doing a maintenance plan for these customers?
Well, so we have, but we've never really developed the plan, so to speak. A lot of times our clients will call us. Some clients, we go every 5 years and refinish their room. I would love to develop a maintenance plan where we were able to, while we're traveling and doing installs, we could always schedule and stop by somebody's and do a quick maintenance service for them. It's something I'm hoping, because we have our installation team is separate from our manufacturing team. Those guys are the ones who need to develop it, and they've been busy and that kind of thing. And so it's definitely something that I'm interested in doing, and I know that our clients are interested in having us do for them.
Yeah, make something last for a long time. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it just hasn't been a formal plan yet.
Yeah. So being that we're mainly on coatings, I love woodworking. I could dig into that forever. So for a lot of guys out there, there's guys out there who don't even know Danish oil. So kind of explain the use of Danish oil and why you guys choose it a little more than like a standard clear coat or an impregnating clear coat or something like that. Like, is that just tradition, or does it react with the tannins and the walnut better than some other stuff? I mean,
well, so I would say that yeah, Danish oil is a it's so versatile because it can be thinned out. It can be left on for extended periods of time to give it some more surface strength. But the way it does react with walnut, whether I don't know all the scientific parts about it, I don't.
I've always heard that.
But I can tell you that is one of our biggest questions. How do you get the finish like that on walnut? How can you get walnut to look like that? I've done everything, and there's no way I can do it. And I can just tell people, it's just sand it. It's the sanding, the steel wooling. The Danish oil is great, and you can buy Watco Danish oil. You could buy Deft Danish oil, which was a better product. When P&G bought Deft, they discontinued the Danish oil. If somebody redevelops the Deft formula, I'll buy it in 55-gallon drums. That's how awesome Deft's formula was versus Watco's. So Watco, we spend twice as much money and twice as much time mixing ourselves by adding. So if we want a little bit darker, we want a little bit lighter, we want maybe a little bit of a red tint to match or something, you can do all that with solids. So just powdered tints. And
okay,
dyes.
so you're using like dyes, like universal dyes and powdered dyes, and just mixing it in with the Danish.
Yeah, versus like a Solar Lux dye, which is a great stain, but it's a complete. It's alcohol based. And it's a different. It reacts to the wood differently. So this is combining and just basically coloring the oils and some of the solids to give it a certain tint. Just the thing with the Danish oil, again, it's walnut or any other wood is going to come in various colors and hues and tones, and so our goal most of the time is to give a finish that's going to take out that middle road, give you a lot more consistency. We obviously cull a lot of the sapwood. We love the burls and the knots. We love to find those versus getting the FAS that's just straight grain stuff. So I think tradition is probably the right answer. It's always worked. It's always been a fan favorite of our clients who just, they go out and it's one of their biggest bragging points to their buddies is how their whole room is finished like a gun stock. So I think it's tradition, but I think that's where my team, and as I transition out of the daily, my team is there to pay attention to develop any new processes. And again, because Austin's background, it gives him the ability. He understands the chemistry. He understands everything that has to happen with the surface coat finishes and all the other. Let's just say every other finish other than Danish oil, because that's all I know. He can handle all those things. He can teach and train within and that kind of thing. So it's been a really good partnership because we've had to diversify in there's just not enough gun rooms to be built every day. So we had to diversify and be able to do the kitchen for the client, be able to do maybe a bar entertainment center area for the clients. We do a lot of libraries and offices for people. So it's something where we just had to be diversified enough to be able to say, hey, we can help you with that. Or somebody comes to us and instead of turning the work away. So we were able to build that new facility in 2020, and it's been pretty great.
So when you guys do surface coatings, like pigmented coatings, what are you guys using? I mean, do you know like brands, style?
Honestly, I don't. That's probably what I should have been a little more prepared for. I see those things all the time, and I know, but again, it's above my pay grade, I say, and I let the experts do their thing. And I I still do a lot of quality control. So my goal is to go and see the finish after and to make sure that I'm satisfied with what it is and how the project's turning out. So
Not so much worried about how the sausage is made.
yeah, well, again, because I used to be there making the sausage, and now my position's transitioned. I have to. I don't make. I don't think that my best time is being spent on the floor with the team. They need me out bringing the projects in.
Yeah, bringing the customers in. Yeah, definitely. So yeah. So on looking kind of into that, you guys, I mean, with you guys do the upland chest for vehicles now. Like, are you seeing any trends like in the paint or the oil world that is coming from designers, like that might be changing? Are you guys noticing anything?
No, I think that we're still getting. We're not for most designers. The majority of the designers they want to paint everything white. They want to use poplar for stuff. There's just I really think it's a miseducation. And I think that it's that when people look at a traditional product, they don't really have they haven't been educated and understand why that's a timeless design and why that can stand in a modern home and why that should stand in a modern home, especially if there's any historical value. You know, what I want to do is I don't mind building beautiful work that's painted. I mean, it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. But to shy away from traditional stuff because it doesn't fit a motif or the style of the home, I have to laugh because it doesn't make sense to me. There's a guy's gun room, office, trophy room, bar does not have to look like a modern Miami home or something in New York City. No, it needs to be more comfortable. It needs to be what the client's looking for. If they're looking for modern, that's fine. But I just think that we have such a unique look, and we believe that our designs and our finishes and processes and things fall into a little bit more of a timeless category than what's the most popular right now. Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't mind if a client says, "Hey, it's been 10 years. Let's tear this out and redo it." That's more work for us. But ultimately, the when somebody goes into a new home or a home they bought, it's just the quick mentality of remodeling everything and changing all those things. And most of the time, our rooms survive those things, and that's really what I want to do is make sure that we come up with a design that's not going to change when the fashion changes or the trends change, and something that can be a little more timeless.
And I mean, in wood, I mean, I just love the look of natural wood, the stained wood. I think I'm just dying for wood cabinets to come back, and you get to see the wood, see the imperfections. I mean, my favorite kitchen when I had my company that we ever did, it was a big one. I mean, I want to say it was like 150 boxes, but it was like a soft white that we did, but it was full overlay. So they were like full slab doors, slab drawer fronts, full overlay, and they were painted like a soft white, but all the drawer boxes, all the interior of the cabinet boxes was walnut clear coated.
Nice.
I mean, the drawer boxes, I clear coated all that. We clear coated all the interiors of all the cabinets was walnut. So it was like painted, and then you open it up and it was just like, hands down, my favorite kitchen.
Well, I think walnut's obviously our favorite wood because we use it so much and it's so versatile. But walnut, I've seen walnut a lot of places over the last 5 to 10 years. I've seen a clear-coated walnut being applied even in a modern look. It's a lot of clean lines, but there is some of that coming back. And again, we're unique because we're not typically working for or directly with the designer and builder. We are usually coming in from the client standpoint. So one of the things that I really would like to be able to develop is that relationship with designers and architects to say, hey, we have a product and a service that we can provide for you guys that's we feel is unique and different than maybe what you can get locally. And here's what we do. And so that to me would save us a lot of time in the education process, the vetting process, and everything like that. When a designer or contractor knows your pricing, they know your work, they trust it, they know it's more than expensive than the other guy, but it's off their plate, and they don't have to deal with all the hassles. We carry those for them. And so if we can build relationships to say in that trust factor, that's really probably where the sustainability in the company is going to come from, not from me going out and finding these one-off clients that or end up being lifetime clients, but the work and the time we have to get into getting these clients and showing them our process, there's a lot of investment and time in that.
Well, those relationships. I mean, I had 3 contractors that, I mean, just great relationships with, and I mean, you develop those, and I mean, those 3 contractors, they bid the jobs for me. I mean, so it's like you have salesmen out there. They knew what my rates were. They would bid it, and they would just call me, "Hey, I got one. When can you start it?" And I'm like, "All right, let's go." I mean, it was like the best relationship. So yeah, I mean, relationships is everything, especially when you get at the level that you guys are at, which is insane.
It's all relationships. It's all they have to trust. They have to trust us, and we have to get to know them more than on the surface.
I want to jump into the business side because this is probably one of my areas that I geek out about because the serial entrepreneur in me on the business side. So you guys have been around 2 generations, 1985. Every journey has ups and downs. Like, what was the moment where you guys decided to grow? Like, what was that moment that was like that pivotal moment for Julian and Sons?
I would say that there's been many pivotal moments in the business, but I would just say, I hate to say, but it was the death of my father was really the pivotal moment in January of 2019 when we had to make I had to make a serious decision of continuing the business, what direction I was going to go in with it, and if we were going to continue to do what we do and the same way. And in my heart of hearts, I knew that was the right thing to do, is to continue and then to grow upon what we've been able to build for the past 38 years. And so I think that the biggest pivotal point was there when we went from 3 owners to 1, and we were able to get a clear direction from a singular vision versus 3 strong-headed individuals who are very closely related, who our best attributes challenging each other. So it just was a circle. Every decision had to be made with votes, and every decision had to be made, and all those things. And I think now we can have a clear direction, and we don't have to have multiple paths. We can get there in one path. And I think that that's been the most pivotal thing for us. It's allowed us. And then again, bringing in Chad Austin from his former company that brought a set of skills and experience and knowledge we had zero of. And that has really made us fundamentally a stronger company, more versatile, and is going to be instrumental in our future growth.
So when did Chad come on?
Chad came on in January of 2020. So my dad died in January of 19, and Chad came on in 20. And that's when we started. We opened the new facility. We leased a large building and started doing some of the painting and other things there, which expanded our floor capacity and a lot of other things. So Chad he's the integrator to me being the innovator. And so I believe in Gino Wickman's Rocket Fuel book that says that every good company is based on two people with distinct skill sets, and it's been amazing for us because where I get lost, he knows exactly where to go, and vice versa.
Oh, that's a great, symbiotic, just perfect. You've got what I always call the visionary, and then the doer, the guy that just goes out there, can take that vision and applicate it all the way, get it all the way through completion.
And that's it. That's the relationship. That's the partnership we have. And that's a hard thing for somebody like me who's been in the business the entire time. I've been involved on every level. I intimately know the process and the people. And whenever I'm asked to step out of that and no longer have have direct authority over those individuals, it changes things. And when I have to look at something and let it go, or if I see something, I got to go to the right person, and creating all these structured levels of things is a benefit that I know is important. And Chad has to be their boss versus me telling anybody what to do. If I need something done, I've got to go through Chad. And so that was a new thing for me as a working business owner, to say, okay, now I got to quit thinking in this mode, and I've got to shift and grow into a new mode. And so that's been a challenge for me. But we've seen a lot of successes with it. So it's so hard for me not to take everything personal about the company. And I have to go through that. I tell people I'm in a grieving process of losing this former self of who I was, and I'm becoming somebody different, and it's okay, and it's what it needs to happen. But ultimately, I just don't get to cut wood every day like I used to, and I don't get to be involved in those decisions and things that are being made out there. But I trust my team, and that's where, when we can get to the point where we fully have everything clicking, then I trust what's going on. I trust they're taking care of it. So it's a great feeling.
Yeah, getting out of the owner-operator mentality and going into owner mentality. You gotta, and that operator mentality it's hard to break.
Honestly, it's a source of contention between my team and I, because it's like, well, yeah, I know that you're doing this, but did you think of this? And it's like, we've got to always make sure that we're not being offensive in those conversations. But I just don't need to be involved in that, and I've got to come to terms with it. So it's all growth for me. It's all challenging, and my biggest goal is sustainability and legacy for the company now. I need to make sure that all the numbers work and everything's working right, and bring the right clientele in, and the network in. But the biggest thing is me now. I want to make sure that this is a sustainable company, and the legacy and the heritage that we've built doesn't stop with me. If my kids don't take over the business, somebody else without the last name Julian is probably going to have to take over the company when my time's up. And so I got to be prepared for that now, and look at that. I don't want the business to die with me. I've already made the decision that it needs to be sustainable, and it has to be bigger and outlast me. And I want that. I want that for my people. I want that for the business, for everything. And so that's the direction we're going. And my goal is to just make sure that we're concreting in every step of the way.
Yeah, that relationship that you develop. I mean, I sound like you and I have a lot of similarities. It's not, you have your family, but I had 8 guys that worked for me, and they were part of my family, and their kids were part of my family, and their wife. So it was like, you're not taking care of one family. I was taking care of 9 families, and it's kind of a burden, but at the same time, it's rewarding, because you want to make sure it goes, because it's not just you anymore. It's not just you cutting wood.
That's right. Well, and there has to be that I tell them they have a job, that we have work for them to do, and we can pay them to do that. And so that's a big burden, and one that I carry seriously, because I know these guys intimately. I know their families. We've had discussions that are way beyond business and work and are personal. And I love these guys, and ladies that work here. I love my people. I do. But it's also, I've got to just make sure that the biggest thing is that everybody's dependent on this company, and this company's got to be taken care of, and the company's got to get what it needs to continue. And that's the biggest issue, is with the way our business is set up, can we continue to do it without compromising? And otherwise, if I don't want to ever get into that mode where we're competing with people for percentages of profit that bring anxiety and pressure, and then people start to cut corners, and I just don't want associated with anything like that. And maybe I'm just a dreamer and a serial entrepreneur that says, hey, I refuse to lose at this, but I don't want to compromise. And that's why our stuff's so expensive. It's just because we will not build it or cheaper or cut corners.
I used to always call it, I never wanted to be in the position to feed the beast, is what I always called it. I don't want to take stuff to take it. Like, I learned that from an old cabinet guy in Tulsa. He was like, he got so big, and it's like one day he woke up and he was just feeding the beast. I mean, taking everything you can to keep 40 guys in his shop busy making cabinets. And then you just look up one day and go, oh crap.
You do. You have to feed the beast, and you have to, and the problem is rarely do guys like us pay ourselves first. We never do. We always get what's left over. And if you have a team that appreciates that, you're in a good shape. But when you have a team who doesn't understand that, and they think that you're taking all this money, or you're making all this money on these big projects, they don't fully understand that there's usually pennies left over at the end of the day, and you're picking up table scraps. And so we've got to get it to where my family's taken care of, and I don't want to turn around in 25 years and realize that I've taken care of these families, but I didn't take care of my own. I'm scared of that.
Yeah, it's a balance. So do you guys use anything like strategies you guys use to stay ahead? I mean, that market can be competitive. There's not many guys doing what you're doing. It's got to be just less than a handful. Like, what do you guys use strategy wise that keeps you ahead of the game?
Well, I think we're going to the people where they're at. We're not trying to reach them with digital advertising. We're not trying to reach them with flashy ads and anything. Our stuff is, we go to where they're at, and that is these luxury safari conventions. They're not gun shows. These are not shows where you got every guy walking around and buying accessories for ARs. This is Rigby and Holland and Purdy and Gunworks and the most expensive, highest end, highest quality products out there. So it's a luxury event, and these people go there, and the last thing they're looking for is cabinets for their house. And they come in here, and not only are they booking a safari and they're buying guns that they won't get for 2 years because there's such a long wait list, and they're paying 6 digits for, they can come over and spend time and go, well, I'm building a room for all this stuff to go into. And so we just go where the people are going. The strategy is to always be honest and open with the clients. And I think that we spread mostly from word of mouth, repeat customers, and then new introductions at these types of events, because outdoorsmen are passionate people, and they're willing to do things that the average guy wouldn't do when it comes to pursuing those passions. And and we want to be there and make ourselves available to them. So that's really the strategy of one-on-one with people.
It goes back to that relationships.
Relationships, because again, I can't, social media, I'm not getting business on social media. I'm just spreading the knowledge of what we do and who we are and building fans, but probably fans who will aspire to one day be able to afford our product. And again, I get it. I mean, I don't have, I laugh and tell people every time I clean my guns on a fold out Costco table, I have to tell somebody, I got to call somebody and complain about it, especially my client friends that have these beautiful solid walnut gun tables where they can sit there and they got their gun vise on it, or they can, it's just this beautiful, and I got a fold out Costco table. Something's wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, I can't afford our product, but the clients who appreciate it and see the value, they're the ones who they don't want to waste their time with things that aren't going to hold their value, and that's what we try to do, is make sure that they're getting a more of a value than the money they're spending.
Get them a little bit extra. It's always been a way that I've was taught to do business. Call it the Boy Scout method. Always give them a little bit more than what they paid for. Leave it a little better than when you got there.
Yeah. Clean. Yeah, this campsite better be cleaner than you found it.
Exactly. Getting towards the tail end of it, one thing I always like to ask guys is, what advice would you give someone if they're wanting to get into the woodworking or, doing what you're doing? Like, what kind of skills or what advice would you give them? Something that you learned, don't do this. I should have done it this way. Somebody just starting off, what advice?
I would have just advised them to find the right mentors and teachers. I would say the biggest thing for them to do is to find and surround themselves with people who are going to help them grow, and or get on with a company that will teach you those things and give you those opportunities for the future, whatever it is that you're looking for. Again, people. Once somebody sees where they can flourish, we can push them in that direction. The guys will come sometimes and start one place and they end up somewhere else in our company because of those things. So I would say the biggest thing is just learn what quality is. Learn what the true masters are doing, what the true masters did, because you're probably not gonna have a chance to work around a true master at every place you get hired, because we don't have that system anymore. And we as craftspeople, as tradesmen, we have got to start teaching and training our own people, because nobody else is. And if we don't develop an apprentice, journeyman, master program, we're all in trouble. And not just you and me as tradespeople. It's the people who need to call the plumber and who need to call the electrician. They don't realize that those guys are going to be the next multimillionaires. It's going to be whoever can run a proper plumbing company. They're going to make whatever money they want. Same thing with any of these trades, because we're losing 3 out of every 5 that retire. We're losing 3. No, only 2 more are coming in, and that's a quote from Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is so big into these things, and I appreciate what he's doing for the trades and what he does, because if we don't do these things, guys, we're going to be training video gamers how to try to do our work, or people who baristas from coffee shops. So what we've got to do is we've got to start taking these young people and show them the path. If I can show you a path that in 4 years you come to work for me, in 4 years you'll have 0 debt, and you'll have 6 companies fighting over you for $50,000 a year to start out at their company. You just give me 4 years and I can make you a $50,000 a year man, and you can go anywhere you want. That's
always been kind of one of the focus of this is getting younger people involved, to know that it's not just a bunch of, alcoholics out there painting or doing woodwork. Like there's people that have passion about this, and it's fun. Like you can come do this and make money. I mean, it's not.
Well, it's not only fun, but it's rewarding, and it's
Yes.
it's what's truly going to give us satisfaction inside our souls. And so we have a motto. I have a motto, and my partner's not in Julian and Sons in a company called Russell Moccasin. Our idea is to conserve our stuff through craftsmanship. It's called conservation through craftsmanship, and we want to be able to teach and train people, but we want to build products like my work and Russell boots that are going to last for years and years and years, not something that is going to change with fads or fall apart in 3 years. We build stuff that lasts for your lifetime or even for generations. And so the whole goal is we've all got to, as tradespeople, come together, and we got to retake our seat at that table with the businessmen, the doctors, the lawyers, and the politicians who kicked us off the table, or we got drunk and left back in the early 1900s. And now everybody's hurting because the tradespeople are not sitting at that table. And now we become, hey, my daddy was in construction, or I'm not going to college, so I'm going into construction. We need to all rethink that and go, I'm going into construction because I know that I can be happy, successful, and provide for my family. That's all of our tradespeople, we're all tied in that way. It doesn't matter if we work with wood, leather, paint, roofing materials, or we're plumbers. We all, and it's that transfer knowledge that we're losing right now with those guys who are 60, 70, 55, retiring from the construction industry. The knowledge that they got transferred from their mentors is not being passed down. And so now we just reset so many of our trades to have to be relearned. And that knowledge transfer, those tricks and tips that only you can give to the guy standing next to you, he'll never get out of a book. He'll never get off a screen.
Never. I mean, there's a lot, and so much of that mentorship is gone in the world today. Like a mentor of someone teaching you. Today, it's a lot of YouTube University, and YouTube's great.
100%. And that serves a purpose. That serves a purpose for the DIY guy that needs to do something. But that does not solve our infrastructure problem in America with the trades and what's going on now. You see guys out there who call themselves finishers who need to be taken off the streets. I see woodworkers who just that they have no business doing it, and it's not that they're trying to teach, learn, and train. They think they've got it. They think they understand quality when they have no. Guys like you and I look at quality, and we're like, you're not even close. You're not even halfway there, man.
And it's just a lack of. Not maybe that they don't want to, but it's just a lack of industry professionals, a lack of people out there willing to pass on the information.
Quality standards. Where are our quality standards? Where's any standards out there in the industries that we're in? You guys like us, we got to create our own standards. And then our standards exceed anything else out there, but nobody is out there. I don't think people are trying to get better. I don't think they know how to get better at what they're doing.
Yeah, I used to have my guys when I had sales guys and when I was working for Centurion and other guys. One of the big book that I read, because like quality and detail is huge to me, and can't remember the guy's name, but it's called Inside the Magic Kingdom. Have you read that book? Oh my, it's amazing. It's basically the premise is a guy goes to Disney, and it's fiction. He goes to Disney and he takes a group of people that are from all different industries, and it's what Disney does that sets them apart. Back then, not so much now, but back in the original days, of how they paid attention to detail and the quality of stuff and how it affects people's perception. And it goes to like who's your competition? Like anyone that provides a better experience than you it doesn't matter what industry they're in, they're your competition, because that's what people remember. They remember the experience. They remember how every single thing was perfect. Every detail was right where it needs to be. They painted the post every night at Disney. So when it came in, it was like the park just opened. But like that professionalism in our industry and the trades is gone. And I think it has to come back. Like we have to get it back if we're going to be sustainable.
Right. And I think that that's the, we can all get paid what we need to get paid if we're doing it the right way. And we've got to just get to that point where we don't compromise for needing a job or hey, we made a mistake and we got to hurry up and get this job done. There's just too much of that. And, I think it's a problem. And I think that the best we can do is start in our own companies and try to develop those things within our own companies and then share that and expand that, whatever's working, whatever platform, whatever's working, whatever you guys have had success or whatever we've had success, if we can share that together and look for ways to network together, for people, our idea with the conservation of the craftsmanship is to have a vetting system that, for people to come in and say, yeah, I want to be part of this, and here's my credentials, and here's why I feel like I can be part of your upper level program of quality-minded tradespeople. And that way we know we're vetting the people coming in, and then our clientele can come in and go, oh, well, there's a finisher, there's a leathersmith, there's somebody and it's already pre-vetted. They already know that they can, an Angie's list, if you will, for our trades, and something that goes a little bit beyond that, a little bit, where we're sharing not only knowledge and information, but we're sharing clientele.
I mean, that's great. I mean, when I had my company, we used to, and I don't want to keep too much, but there was 3 of us, 3 or 4, the elite painters in the market that I was in Oklahoma. Once a month, we would have lunch. All of us, the owners. I mean, we were all bidding on the same jobs. We all knew what customers we didn't want to work for. Hey, this lady calls you, run, or she's wants something crazy. And we discussed it. Like, hey, I'm thinking about going up on my rates. And they're like, all right, what do you want to go to? I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to $85 a man hour. All right, cool. We'll go there too. I mean, there's plenty of work. We just have to create that network and that community of professionals that you don't have to fight over the business. You got to work together. And hey, I can't get to this lady. You need to call. I told her to call you. She's going to call you because I'm 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out, and she needs something done before Thanksgiving.
And your clients appreciate that.
Yes.
The employees appreciate that. And you as business owners you have a higher level of respect for those people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Agreed. Man, it's been awesome. So we kind of talked about it before we started recording, but the other thing I like to go into is outside of work. And I think I know what it is, but outside of work, outside of the woodworking, what's your passion?
The outdoors. The outdoors on every level. I've been a outdoor runner. I've been a hiker, a camper, a hunter, a fisherman. I love eating food off the land, animals and plants, and I think I'm just an outdoorsman. I love to be out there and hunt or fish or even just camping with the family. So I just say my biggest passion's outdoors.
What's the craziest, your favorite place to go outdoors? Like, because you've been a lot of places. I would say you're camping or hunting, whichever one it is. Like, what's your, like, when you think of your favorite?
So the places I've been, I'd have to say Alaska. It's so, you can't wrap your head around it. It's so amazing. It's so vast. It's so diversified. It's everything.
My wife and I did our honeymoon there 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary. We did a 2-week driving tour through Alaska, stayed nothing but bed and breakfast, went to like 4 different, and it was just, I mean, you can't comprehend it. You can't explain the kayaking. We did some kayaking and seeing 8,000 foot peaks covered in snow going right into the ocean. Like wrapping your brain around that is just insane.
Yeah, watching glaciers calve big, huge chunks off of them into the ocean, or seeing whales out. I mean, there's just so much in Alaska. I'm telling you, I've taken, I've been there probably 8 or 9 times, and then I've taken my wife a couple times, our kids once. I got to go with my dad and my brothers just on a father-son trip back in the 90s, and there's a million places I want to go. Like New Zealand's probably where we're going to be really kind of thinking about headed to, or Africa or New Zealand, just to go and see it. But I just say the places I have been, there's nothing like Alaska.
We're actually taking, this is our 10-year anniversary, and it's my in-laws' 50 year. So we booked a cruise, and we're taking them, and we leave in May, end of May. We're going on a 10-day cruise in Alaska because they've never been. My father-in-law's 72, and he's like you, outdoorsman, Grand Canyon, hiking, jeeping. I mean, they jeep to the Baja Peninsula, all the way down the Baja Peninsula, loves being outside, he and his brother, but he's never been to Alaska. And he is like, I mean, they're just, he's dying to go.
You got to do it.
Yeah. So I told him, they've
got to do it.
He's actually planning on, after this, he said he and his brother, it's like, I want to say in his early 60s, they're planning on doing a Jeep trip from Durango, where they live now, or they're moving to Durango, all the way to Alaska.
I want to drive that road. I want to drive that road so bad. I think it's 4,000 miles to Anchorage from my house in Arkansas. I've looked at it too many times.
My father-in-law says he just had knee replacement surgery, and he said now that he's got the knee replacement next year, that's on the list. Like, he's like, I'm doing it. Like, one way or another, I'm doing it.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, I'm kind of in that mode right now where I don't want to pass on any of those opportunities that I've passed on before, and it's like, and I'm doing them. I really am. I mean, things are going really well, and we're excited about the future of the company. My wife and I are excited about our future together. We're young enough, no kids at home. Businesses are doing great. We're looking forward to a lot more outdoor adventures.
You guys are doing great. I mean, is there anything that I could help you with, like whether it be on the marketing side or the finishing side? I mean, I know you've got Chad, but is there anything that you guys need help with that my experience over the past 10 years, my 10, 15 years would be of help for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that if we could get Chad to have some time and meet you, I think just the fact of somebody with your experience and knowledge, and you guys could talk technical stuff, and you could introduce him to a lot of the new products, because you're in it every day, and that's different than what he used to be in it every day. He's not in it every day. He still knows what he's doing, but guys that are in it every day, they get to see the new stuff and have conversations. And he would be somebody I'd like to really have you get and talk to, because he would be have some questions that you possibly could help with. So, but I appreciate you. You and I have been talking back and forth, and I like what you do, and I appreciate your love for our stuff. And thanks for having me on your podcast.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. It's been an awesome show. Like, you guys do amazing work. Shoot out your social medias. I mean, people need to go check out your work if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah, just Julian and Sons on Julian _and_ Sons on Instagram, and we have Facebook and lots of stuff on Pinterest and things. But, sign up for our newsletter. Go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get updated Julian and Sons, projects and who's who and what's what. I call it sawdust. Just sign up and you'll get some sawdust coming your way.
I like that. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. I can tell you guys. You go check out their work, and it's. You can't even explain the magnitude of the awesomeness. So go check them out. Julian & Sons on Instagram. Give them a search. You can search Joe Julian on Instagram. Appreciate everybody coming on. Joe, man, it's awesome. Have to get you back on in the near future. Otherwise, we'll set something up, and I'd love to chat with Chad. But everybody stay tuned for the next episode. I appreciate you listening, and we'll see everybody next week.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.